friends and family, and welcome back to The Way Outdoors. Today is Friday, September 6th. It is about 7:45 in the morning. Back with Dom again. Kind of some deja vu. We are back at the same trailhead we started our El Diente hike from, and that is the Lizard Head Wilderness El Diente Trail. We are going to be heading back up this way towards El Diente. Instead, we're going to be passing it and going up towards Mount Wilson. It was actually pretty close to where we turned off to go up El Diente last time, and probably would have only taken us another hour or two, I would imagine, to get up there. So we're going to be going back through the meadows, the forest, and up through that big scree field that was pretty difficult, but at least we now know what it is and what to expect. Weather today is definitely colder, as it is about a month and a half later. Low 30s right now. We got our gear on. It's almost glove worthy getting into September here, and definitely wanted to get another climb. So the weather today looks great. There's like a 10% chance of some rain possibly after like 3 or 4 p.m., but we should be well on our way back down by then. It is chilly, so we're gonna get moving. Mount Wilson, this will be the third 14er in this basin, so this will finish them up for me. Dom will get Wilson Peak another day as well. Should be a pretty straightforward climb. It's about as hard as El Diente is. Class 2 up to the talus slope, and then up on the ridge you're doing some class 3. There's a couple cool moves, and you go through some notches and past some big rock slabs. Should be a great hike. Mileage and overall route is just about the same as El Diente. I think it's about 12.5 miles and a little over 4,000 feet of gain. Here we go.
Hell yeah.
What do you got to say?
I'm excited to get out. Fall is coming closer every day. Snow's been dusting the mountains, and I am just happy that we're getting out again. It's going to be a good day for it. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Dom's got his colors on, so we won't be getting lost. I have my puff, which is colorful, but Dom was giving me crap that I always hike in black and green, which are the worst colors when you're out on the trail if you need a rescue. Gotta sign the log, let them know. Back to the sign here. So it says El Diente, kind of deja vu here, but starting at Kilpacker, going up through the meadows here in the forest, and then we cut across at the creek to where you go right. This takes you up to Kilpacker, to El Diente and Mount Wilson. This way would take you into the Navajo Basin, which is beautiful as well. And there's a north route for El Diente and Mount Wilson, and that also gets you to Wilson Peak. So we're going to be heading up the basin. This is all familiar terrain. And then right at this El Diente cutoff, we're just going to basically continue right here, go up kind of this way to Wilson. So yeah, I mean, 7/8 of the trail we've done before. There is another trailhead we actually were considering doing the hike from. The standard route for Mount Wilson used to be a class 4 route up the north here. So the traditional route used to be from this Rock of Ages, and you go all along this, through this basin, and get onto the ridge. From there you can do Wilson Peak. That's how I did Wilson Peak. But our plan was to go up to the ridge, and then you drop down here and do the class 4 ascent. Again, that used to be the standard route, but now on 14ers, the trail is a class 3 route through here, as opposed. So an easier hike for everybody, and we're gonna get moving. Let's go. I'm not a mushroom expert by any means, but these guys weren't here last time, right, popping up.
It's so crazy how they can just like pop up overnight.
Yeah, overnight, right?
Yeah.
Within less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I think this might be turkey tail. I will check when I get home, but it does resemble turkey's tail. Pretty cool. All right, we've been cruising along probably just about an hour. Yep, it's almost 9. Dom said we're about 2.5 miles in, going through the forest here. We just passed the turnoff sign for El Diente, and pretty soon we will be getting to the creek crossing and the views into the basin. And then, as I mentioned in the first video, there's some good camping on the right side when you get into that meadow, kind of by the creek. Great morning. We still aren't really in the sun yet. Gonna take the jacket off pretty soon. Cooler temperatures, a little bit of frost on the plant, and a lot of mushrooms. Oh, whoa. As I'm saying it, cool red one. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. So we're to the meadow. There's El Diente. So again, we're gonna be heading straight up this meadow and then hooking right in between El Diente and this darker ridge. Sure starting to look like fall. So we are taking the jackets off. Gonna be up in the sun pretty much. I always don't talk about my snacks, but Dom brought some squeeze applesauce.
Oh yeah.
Good move.
Definitely recommend.
Got some Takis, salty, spicy. Also brought some sour ropes and some other usual suspects, but
PB&Js.
yeah, Dom made 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, 1 for each, so looking forward to that on the summit. We were talking about it last time and we failed to get them. Haven't seen anybody yet in front of us or behind us, so curious to see if anybody else will be going up the trail behind us. Weather does look great and getting to the end of the season, so Trailhead is pretty busy. Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking.
Honk,
Optimistic prime. Honk honk.
Booga. So we made it out of the forest and made that right turn. We are now heading up the basin at that waterfall right there. It's pretty glary, but started that talus, Dom's favorite.
Yeah.
So these pine trees are the last little stand of shade pretty much the rest of the route until we get back here. And again, we're gonna be going straight ahead there up the talus slope here. Trail cuts across, you could probably see it, and then we go above that kind of cliff band up into the upper basin. And then from there, that is not Mount Wilson. We'll be going left. I think it's probably 1,000 feet of gain up this at least, maybe 1,300. Making good mileage. We're about 4 miles in. Let's get it going. This is the sound. Broken pottery. All right, so we just took a little snack break at this rock, same spot as last time. And gonna be heading up. I think we're almost about halfway up the scree, but that's looking behind us, what we've done so far. Steep and loose, so definitely just kind of every step just pushing, head to the ground, and we're making our way though. So we found some very valuable shade. It's kind of cliff band. We're traversing up this way, pretty steep, but that's the rest of the talus we came up. If you haven't watched my El Diente video by this point of watching this video, this part has all been very similar, and that's the summit of El Diente. So this is all not new to us, and it's not easy on the feet, but we were talking about how it's almost kind of worse that we knew what we were getting into now, just because it sucks pretty bad. But yeah, I'm running off. I don't know if I mentioned in the video yet, but I got like 4 hours and 10 minutes of sleep, so just a little bit tougher, but the body's holding up. But it's just the breathing and just overall a little more exhausted. Yeah, I had a big day yesterday at work and gym and onward. It is 10:20. So we always say, hopefully summit by noon, but you know, I used to say that all the time, right? But that's when I was doing class 1 and 2 peaks, which are basically a dirt trail to the summit, minus some rock scrambling. Trails like this, they just take longer. Miles take longer. You can expect to make it to a summit after noon. That's not out of the question. And in September, the weather's generally better into the afternoon, less storms in August. We just got to the top of that scree field, and there's kind of a false summit to get to the upper basin, but this is not as bad. You can see the trail just cuts across and then we go up there. A little more scree, but it's definitely not as steep as the last section. See Dom up there. Rocks, rocks, and more rocks. All right, we are up the second kind of scree field into the upper basin, pretty much. So there's El Diente, and we turned off, right at this rock, and there's some cairns, and we pretty much, actually, maybe another 100 yards, started up the El Diente route and went all the way up here to the cliff bands. Then we hooked left, and then you go over the ridge somewhere around here. You kind of pop over the ridge and get up there. But I think this is the first view of Mount Wilson. I think it's those 3 points in the very back. I think it's the left one. Pretty sure that's barely in sight. So yeah, I think we're gonna go up into that final little gully. So we got to go up this scree field and then up some class 3 stuff through a little slab and a notch. So we'll helmet up here in a little bit. So we are now officially in new terrain. The start of El Diente was right up this gully right here, and then you go through all this madness. But trail's hard to see, but I mean, if you've got a keen eye, you can see that right here it's kind of broken up looking rock, and you can see kind of a faint just social trail. There are cairns along the way, and so it shouldn't be too bad.
So we got some Heath Bar toffee cookies, homemade by my beautiful wife last night. Megan, we love you. We're gonna have one when we get right up there past 13,000 feet. And then we're gonna have one when we get back to the trees after the scree field.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice and soft.
Oh. Oh man. Oh my goodness.
Cookie.
Heath Bar is definitely one of my favorite candies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are good. So slow going, steep, big rocks now. All different sizes, but trail has disappeared and just doing the cairns. Here's Dom, give you an idea. So we're gonna go left kind of before this hill right here. Dom will hook left. All right, we're getting there. Summit is in sight. So from here we just head up between these 2 rocks and then go behind that rock there. And we're just basically gonna go up this gully and to the summit. Gonna put on our helmets. Vertical feet, we probably only have 400, 500. So we're getting there. It's been a steep mofo. And we just passed a group of 6. They had some really cool foam helmets. Coming up this steep part right here, and then now this is kind of the cruxy, most difficult part of the route. So we're gonna stay left of this little rock right here. You can see Dom's legs going up, and then we're ultimately gonna go over this rock rib over there, and then up to the summit. Looking over to El Diente, and we're almost up this gully. I know once we get to the top up there, we're gonna be going left and then up. Dom coming up the steep pitch.
I feel like this is the stuff I have to tell myself to record in, because you don't think about it otherwise. Here we are, brother.
Final push.
Summit.
I think this is it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Woo! Yeah. Woo. That's it. Made it.
It's the character Dom here, and we are on Mount Wilson. We freaking did it, and you can tell because here we are.
It's pretty much.
Pretty much.
That's the final push. We just came up. It is 12:40, and we are at the top of Mount Wilson. El Diente over there. We did that 6 weeks ago. And then there's Wilson Peak. That's the Coors Light Mountain. But originally we were going to come from the Rock of Ages. So that trail coming down from that yellow saddle, we would have been coming up from there and then descended down into this basin and then ultimately climbed up this north side somewhere here. But it would have been solid class 4. So we did the class 3 ridge, and that's Gladstone Peak, I think, or mountain. But super cool. Great views. Couple clouds now, but not even anything to worry about. And we have the summit to ourselves. Saw that group coming down. Alrighty, so for the summit beers today, got a couple things going on. We have Roadhouse Brewing Co. out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and this is called Wilson West Coast IPA.
Poised at the picturesque base of the majestic Teton Pass sits Little Wilson, Wyoming, a special place, as unobstructive as the brooding lizard, where lives people practically extinct from doing things smart people don't do. In your hand is the brew, formerly known as Rhombus, with its piquant citrus notes. Wow. Isn't that, you just want to tear into that and see if that story continues. And so we're going to do that.
So the irony of this, though, is obviously we're on Mount Wilson. The beer is called Wilson, and also there is a lizard on it, and that feature right over there is Lizard Head Peak. So it's pretty ironic. I always try to match the beers at the peak, and Lizard, Wilson, unbelievable. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Oh, he.
Oh, it's fantastic. Ooh.
It is good. Kind of like an old school recipe, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Good citrusy hop notes, though.
All right, PB&J. Let's go.
Hopefully the proportions are good for you. I usually go pretty heavy on peanut butter. Love me some peanut butter.
Raspberry. Thank you, sir.
3.5 hours.
So that's El Diente,
Anything here.
looking down towards Navajo Lakes Basin.
Yeah.
That's blow my mind. Like you don't, in my mind.
And then
they're in junction
Wilson
and
Peak.
they're not close to each other, but they are.
Yeah, and then even the Sawatch, 2.5 hours.
Let's
I can
look
be
east.
2 hours,
That's not bad.
2 hours 15 to
Basin.
Holy Cross, 2.5 hours to Elbert, Massive Area.
Dom
3
Chatton.
hours
Got
to
a couple
Cleveland.
other
So-
dudes
Is
up
that
there.
you take Independence Pass?
I honestly, Independence Pass is slower.
Just chatting
Most of the
about
time, I go
peaks.
through Minturn and then take that pass over to
We head down
Leadville,
the
but it never
scree.
goes quite through Leadville.
It is
I like
no
straight along
joke.
some country roads.
Dom's talking about Goggins and Rogan.
Goggins and
Changed his
Rogie.
life. We've been coming down that
Life-changing.
steep. Not getting cold, but there is a big cloud above us. But
I am
I'm not
getting
worried.
cold.
Dom's cold.
I'm getting cold.
So this is the point when you get cliffed out if you go there. So right here, visible cairn. You go over this crossover, you can't see, and then you drop down, and then ultimately down that way, kind of. So we ran into a couple guys on the summit. They're going a little quicker than us, which is totally fine. But it's funny, they did El Diente, and I just put out my El Diente video a few days ago, and one of the guys on the summit said he watched it, which is really cool. And he also said the kind of the detail I put into some of it is really beneficial. He was looking at doing the traverse and noticed from my video that, you know, a certain gully was steeper than he expected. Did not choose to do the route he anticipated because of my content. So pretty sweet that ran into a person. I actually have never ran into a person on any trail that has seen my content. So that was pretty cool. First person to be like, yeah, I've seen it. It helped me on my route choosing. So that's why I love doing this stuff. I love to share the route with you guys, share the experience. So anyways, this is the crossover again. There's a gully behind this rock, but yeah, this is one of the kind of hardest pitches. You got to go up right here and cross over and then make your final pitch. Summit's up there. But you'll see as we're coming down and going up that by this green wall, there's another gully and it's too steep. It gets cliffed out, so you couldn't go up that way. And definitely don't go up to the left. Do not go up there. This is the crossover. Do it. There'll be a cairn right on the other side. And then this is looking down. So then you kind of come up over this little point. And we're gonna, visibly you can kind of see we keep going down here and drop down and we'll be on the way. So summit up there left. That's what we descended. So just a couple minutes ago, I was standing about there and I mentioned that you got to go on this crossover there, and there was another gully that cliffs out. So that is the gully that cliffs out. Do not go up there. You can see those rocks. You know, that's a 25-foot gain. So do not go that way. You go left and cross over right there and then up the gully into the summit. All right, we've been trucking. Keep on trucking, folks. We've just been coming down these rocks, having a good old time, chatting. All this is very loose, so you need to, yeah, I was actually just thinking the same thing. Time to take the helmets off, but I'll show you. Be careful while I'm walking, but, you know, look at these rocks. They're all shifty a little bit, so you're very careful. See, I mean, every step is a possibility for movement. We've both kind of had some wobbly steps, but no falls or anything, so just be careful.
Every step is a possibility for movement.
Every day is a
Because if you think about it, that's exactly how walking works. Sometimes you go nowhere, but sometimes you go somewhere.
I forgot I was hiking with Jake.
Jake, you're saying things that nobody knows.
What are you even saying, Dom?
What is he even saying?
He doesn't even know anymore. Jake, I don't think you're gonna watch this, but what are you even
He
saying?
says everything and nothing at the same time. It's so much while being so little.
So much energy spent. All right, so we've been chatting. Haven't filmed in a little bit, but looking back at the summit.
A fall.
Dom got a little twisty step a second ago, but should be all right here. And
It's kind of crazy. It's like, how does anody fall on such a well-groomed trail?
yeah, I
It's
mean,
well-groomed trail.
perfect
He's like,
flat.
He's like, we're gonna get some trail running in.
Oh yeah.
There's the camera.
God.
Jesus Christ.
That is Mount Wilson, the one to the left. We came down all this talus, and we still have more talus to go. So, yeah, Dom got a little bleeder there. Almost down, finally. Thank goodness. Yeah, we just got to get to those trees. So, you go through the trees, and then there's actually another 100 yards maybe. But after that, forest meadow. Dom's crying. He did hurt his ankle. He got a boo-boo. But again, yeah, this is the terrain. Smaller rocks than earlier, but we have not stepped on a dirt trail in a long time, since probably 10 a.m. We're thinking we're gonna be back to the car by 5, hopefully. Once we get on this trail, we'll start riffing. And again, we have it's like a 3.5 hour drive home. Rough. 4 hours of sleep. But I do have an energy drink in my car, so I will drink that. And then we have some food, snacks, everything needed. And 3.5 hours back. It's getting darker earlier, so yeah, it'll probably be dark. I mean, 8:30, 8:45. Get a good night's rest. And we'll see about maybe another trip before the end of the season. Just depends on the weather and kind of when the snow falls, and if it warms up enough to melt it off, or if we're going to be kind of socked in, because it can start as early as September, but generally October. So now I'm just rambling. Tapatio, Joey Bag of Donuts, the Dom route, Potato Thorn. Dude, what's up, man? Potato Thorn, got to give you a shout out. Always, yeah, even Dom knows you, Potato Thorn.
Bro, since 2019, I've known of the Thorn.
See, so he knows you were the one of the first, the OG. Yep, the number one, the way outdoors. It'll also say the number one hike with Mike, because that's what this channel used to be. It'll have a potato and then a thorn. 2 items on the front of the shirt. But really though, Potato Thorn, thanks for the support. Keep on getting out in the desert, enjoying all that stuff. I love the desert, and we're actually talking about doing a trip there at some point here as the shoulder season starts and we get into fall, cooling down in the desert. Not quite cold enough for winter yet, so we'll see. But man, I just talked about Potato Thorn for 2 minutes. Thanks, dude.
So, I don't know.
There's the old El Diente, Deja Vu from 6 weeks ago. These flowers and everything are kind of dying now. Beautiful afternoon. Some large clouds, but nothing to be worried about. Trying to be back by 5, and it is 4 o'clock. I bet we still have 3 miles. So it'll be a push, but we might get it. Let's see, last time I think we actually got back to the car at about 5:15, so we'll see. Probably be almost around the exact same time. Same drive home, everything else, so. There's El Diente. We are officially back into the trees almost for good here, so got one more creek crossing, a few miles, and we'll be back to the trailhead. Beautiful day, beautiful hike. I would almost say that El Diente had a little bit more tricky of a route. It had a little bit more of technical terrain. Mount Wilson from this approach was really class 2 kind of scree up until almost like the last 30 minutes of the hike. So we really didn't put our helmets on until, the last 30, 45 minutes of the hike. So definitely a better approach, I guess, for, the mass consumer 14ers, because the prior route was the North Slope route that we did not do today. So for anybody else, this route is definitely much better. Haven't really filmed much on the way back, but we're cruising through these last couple meadows, and then we'll be turning the corner and getting a view of the parking lot. So it is 4:57. So we were hoping 5:15, 5:20 maybe. So we'll see. I think that actually might be doable. But I'm real low battery. Cruising along. Should be back to the trailhead, I'd say 20 minutes. Let's see how we do. Alrighty, I have 1% battery, but we're back to the trailhead. It is about 5:10, so right around when we thought. It's almost the exact time we got to the parking lot last time when we did El Diente. So back basically the same time. Pretty sweet. Nice afternoon, got some clouds, and we're gonna be heading home. Change our shoes and hit the road. Beautiful though. There's another look at El Diente. All the way around this whole hill, bump, and up into there. We're finishing up with the recap, and it was a little windy, so we started the drive, have a nice pull off here. This is what we have, beautiful mountains, nice little road. So we are back on the road. I'm heading back towards Lizard Head Pass and Telluride and home, about 3.5 hours. Easier than El Diente and the same trail. The talus was punishing, and my foot was kind of hurting, my ankle a little bit, and Dom got a cut on his ankle, like we mentioned, but gonna cruise home. Another great trip with Dom, great route finding, everything else. Had a blast. Yeah, what do you got on it?
Stay tuned, because Capital and Little Bear, they're coming up next year. Just wait. It's in the works. Kate Carson, Needle, all that.
Yeah, another great hike. Again, it is second week of September, so I'm not sure when snow's falling. Hopefully we can get another peek in. We will see you next time, and thanks for watching.
Later.
And there's Lizard Head sticking up right there. Might have a better view in a minute or two. But gosh, what an afternoon. Look at this place. Look at this place. Yeah, that is a cloud.